stands, I suppose, with a foot on both sides in terms of the research and the industry side of things. So for those of you who don't know much about Lero, I'll try over the course of 3 or 4 slides to give you a very brief introduction to it, and then for anybody who is interested in talking to me afterwards, I'll be available for a quick chat, or you can check out some of our projects on the Lero website. So to start with, the Lero Research Centre team. Lero has been in existence since 2005, initially funded by SFI as what was called a CSET. And since 2015, it's been officially a research centre. And what that means is that SFI have committed funding over the next over the 6 years of the research centre's life to help Lero to work with industry in terms of funding applied research projects. So currently Lero has just over 30 industry partners involved in research, and they're a mixture of SMEs and multinational companies. And typically the model that we're using is for the multinationals, obviously they might have a certain amount of funding that they put aside for research projects, but for the smaller companies like the SMEs, they'll either work in conjunction with a multinational, or as in the case of some of the projects that we're doing in the area of medical device software, a group of companies will come together, a group of small companies will come together, and their combined funding helps to fund a research project. So the key focus areas for Lero, I guess these are the areas that Lero is doing fundamental or core research in, and then out seeking industry partners to look for applied research projects in these areas. So in terms of methods and standards for high integrity systems, we have projects going on in the area of lean, agile and global methods, open source and innovation, and basically anything to do with the process of developing software. Adaptive and autonomous systems. We have core research going on in the area of autonomous systems and self-learning and how that can be applied, whether it's in a robotic sense or whether it's in the area of security software moving between different markets and different locations, and how the software might adapt from a security perspective to different geographic locations. We have research, again we have both core and applied research going on in the area of large complex systems and multi-core embedded and massively parallel systems. And another big area for us is in the area of security and privacy, where we have a number of both digital forensic projects going on with fintech companies and also cybersecurity projects going on with companies where they're again interested in the security aspects of transferring data and around the whole IoT and Internet of Things and the challenges that provides for industry partners. So again, as for anybody who was at the earlier SFI presentation, the model that we work is around core research going on in these areas, and then we have what we call spokes, and those spokes are effectively where we take that core research and we look for industry partners and we look for practical applications of that research. Part of the reason we're interested in talking to you today, I guess, is that software is pervasive, it's everywhere. It's in fintech, it's in medical, it's in aviation, and it's used obviously throughout the supply chain in terms of managing the supply chain, optimizing the supply chain, and it's used across the manufacturing processes and throughout operations management. And we're interested in developing more of our applied projects in the area of manufacturing and supply chain. So we have over 50 research projects at the moment in all of these different areas, and these are just some samples of them. And we have over 30 research partners right across the spectrum, from medical devices through to telecoms, ICT, and even oil and gas. And we're working, as I said at the beginning, with a mixture of multinationals and SMEs. So at this point, what I'd like to do is introduce you to Dr. Sheahan. Con has been working as a researcher for Lero for the last number of years in terms of optimization of supply chain. But he's also a business owner, or has been a business owner. So he has experience of working in SMEs, working in multinationals, and working in the research sector. So I'm going to hand you over to Con, who's going to give you an overview of some of his research and what the benefits to industry of that might be. Thank you.
So what I'm going to discuss is trying to take the ideas that we have in terms of the basic research in computer science and then trying to reduce them to the practice. One thing I can assure you, it's excellent to come up with an idea within an academic environment or research environment, but if it isn't reduced to practice, then the benefit to the industry then is minimized. So there was an SFI call that came out, and I was having conversations with companies, particularly Toyota and Dell, would have been really helpful in terms of trying to say, okay, what were the key problems that they had? And one of the key challenges that they had was the tremendous amount of information available, but it was very difficult to see what were the performance consequences of the issues that were confronting them. So we came up with the idea behind the project was focused on analytics, visualization of both demand and supply matching. So the idea is to recognize that there's a tremendous number of people out there that are working very hard. They're deploying all their best efforts. They have ERP systems that are out there from the major commercial vendors, but unfortunately a lot of the decisions are still made on spreadsheets or informal models that people have to devise themselves. So what we're trying to do is to understand what are the issues that those ERP systems leave on the table, and can we develop tools and methodologies that are going to allow people in industry to solve these problems. Now, a big issue is with most ERP systems is this siloed approach to design. People use the term, oh, it's an integrated ERP, but unfortunately a lot of the integration is done with the heroic effort of individuals. And a big challenge is trying to understand the dynamics of demand as you are trying to deal with all these different siloed decision-making processes, and also key performance indicators that people are trying to respond to. So one of the big jobs that we try to overcome is there's a tremendous number of people that are wonderful at telling you how you did in the past tense. So this whole realm, if you look at the whole realm of accountancy, there's a whole range of reporting, compliance that tell you how you did in the past. There's only one slide problem is you can't change. So what we're trying to do is, we're just people here, this idea of revenue on time in full. It's a performance indicator that I'm very fond of, and we use it then to propagate into other suites of performance indicators. But it's the idea that what can we predict about what's going to happen to your enterprise, and try to learn something in advance to prevent a problem happening. So the idea is that we built actual software and put into actual firms, and these have been also part of SFI, but also EU-funded research projects. But the idea is you're trying to look at what's your sales order book, what's your forecast, and are we going to be successfully able to ship it or not, and if not, why not? So in other words, it gives you the prediction, but also the diagnostic ability. Now, so the idea is we're trying to, if you build all of these models manually yourself, you can do it, but the cost of building them for each individual firm is disproportionate to the benefits that can be gained. So what we've tried to do from a research perspective is try to build generic models that are going to work in every production situation. So whether you're Dell, whether you're Toyota, whether you're somebody who's chipped into the machine tool industry in Germany, they're all different types of firms. What we've tried to do is to extract the physics of those particular firms and to give people and practitioners a tool that allows them to make better decisions than they would otherwise. So one of the things we're trying to do is to see what performance indicators and what's going to happen. So it isn't just simply finding out what happened in the past, but what will happen in the future if we don't take remedial action, or there might be an upside opportunity that we also want to harvest. So the idea is we look at 3 timelines. Operational decision making, which is basically the next 6 weeks, like what we have to do with the existing order book. We look at the tactical, so you look maybe he wants to pay on your type of business, and you're trying to look at what are the processes, what are the technologies that are going to help you, and then strategic thing where you're looking much longer term. But what you want to do is you want a model and a tool to allow you to test different scenarios. So you do the heavy lift in terms of predicting the scenarios, but then you use this modeling tool to predict what those performance indicators are going to be, and is this initiative justified compared to another one. Now, so the next actions from you from this particular talk is, first of all, is to understand, do we have a firm? Do we understand what performance improvement we want to make? Do we have some views about new ways of running the business? Do we have new ways in terms of how we improve our operational excellence? The next question is then, what I'm doing as well is working a lot with actual firms. And what I found from a research perspective, it isn't just in academia that you're going to learn. It's you're trying to live the experience with practitioners and getting those key insights. I'll give you an example. One just recently, I was with a car manufacturing firm, and it was fascinating to have a real deep conversation on inventory. And everybody perceived just in time as a solved problem. But it was a much more nuanced issue that people generally accept. So the idea is that we have to create a special interest group of people in an industry who would be interested in having a conversation. One is maybe ideas how they might want to do things themselves, but then for people who want to really solve problems, there's a deep collaboration, and at the moment the SFI are going through a process to really improve the way that Science Foundation Ireland connects with industry, and this is one of the instruments of area. So if there's people that are interested in saying, okay, we want to put some of these tools to the test, I'd be happy to have a conversation. Very good. Thank you for the time.